What's going on, people? Jaye the Black here, back with another video. Shout out to everybody that's tuning in. I really do appreciate it. In this video, I want to talk about basically how to get her out of your head. Now, I have made many different videos about dealing with females and how to really build yourself up and put yourself in a position to be a chooser and not a loser's choice, not a last-ditch effort, so to speak, or attempt, for that matter. Because, you got some guys who are just they're going to be the last to be called, because you have a lot of women who want to have their fun. You have a lot of women who want to manipulate you. And in this video, I'm going to talk about how to, get her out of your head, how to keep her out of your head. Because let me just say this. I struggled with this. When you build emotional attachments to women, it's very difficult to break that, because a part of you don't want to talk to her at all anymore, but it's hard to break that. So you end up continuing to speak with them when you know that you should break it off with them. And it's because we've built up an emotional attachment that needs to be broken. Now, one way I have really figured out breaking an emotional attachment to women who are dysfunctional, women who do not bring good energy to your situation, okay? Now, I will say this. You have to identify the type of woman she is, okay? That's going to take some time. I've experienced it. It takes me some time to really figure people out. There's going to be bumps in the road. There's going to be frustrating. It's going to be annoying. But after a while, you're going to get a clear picture of the type of person that you're dealing with. And by that time, once you have fully figured them out, you're done with them. You no longer want to deal with them. Okay? But in their mind, they've gotten over on you. In their mind, they have manipulated you. But what they don't understand is you have a very good poker face. Like me. I've spoken to females and they really believe they've ran some type of game on me. They really believe that I believe what they're saying. And it's like, no, I'm a skeptic. I don't believe what you're telling me because you've shown me inconsistencies. And I have seen inconsistencies with some of the females that I've talked to. And they don't notice it. They think that if you have an issue with them, you're going to tell them outright, no. No. I'm going to keep certain things to myself. And I'm going to continue to compare notes, because that's what you're supposed to do. As a skeptical-minded, especially as a skeptical-minded man, you have to hold things to the chest and just basically read the person and collect more info on that particular person. Now, I know y'all are going to say, well, Jay, that's a little over elaborate. If you don't want to deal with them, don't deal with them. I'm talking about the people who build up emotional attachments. Whether you've been in a relationship with that woman, you've been married to that woman, and you can't seem to leave her alone. She can't seem to leave you alone. But you get to a point where you want to leave her alone. I'm letting you know how it can be done, so you never care about who she's with. You never care about what she's doing. You're just keeping your distance from them. And that can be difficult if you've built an emotional attachment. Trust me, I know. You even have friends that you may have been friends with for a long time. You don't want to be friends with them anymore, but you can't really be honest with yourself and honest with them about your status, about your friendship. So what you end up doing, you still continue to deal with them, even though you don't like them. Same with family members. You have family members that you don't want to deal with. You have to learn how to read them, understand the type of person they are, because people will lie to you. People will lie to you in a second, because nobody likes telling the truth anymore. Why do you think you have women acting the way they act now? Because nobody's telling them the truth. Everybody's lying to them. They're lying to them. So, because they're lying to them, these women have a false sense of who they are. But when they listen to men like me and other men, red pill men, they get offended. They get in their feelings because they don't understand why we thinking differently than all the other people around them. That's because we're not thirsty. We gain nothing from lying to you. And most women will resent that, but you have some women who will understand what we're saying, you know? They'll understand where we're coming from. But you as a man want to get that particular woman out of your head. And I'm telling you right now, women will lie to you in order to keep you in a constant state of confusion, a constant state of, you know, always choosing to deal with them. And I will say this. You have to figure out what type of woman she is. You have to figure out her angle. Where is she coming from? Her consistencies. But don't tell her everything, because once you tell her everything, what she's gonna do, she's gonna go back to the drawing board. She's gonna figure out another way to manipulate you from another angle. They can use being emotional. They can use anger. They can use shaming. And most of the time it works, you know? But that's why you have to be able to hold things to your vest. You have to be able to not tell people everything that you're thinking, because they will ask you, what are you thinking? They will ask you, how do you feel? You can't be honest with them like that, because they'll use that and then turn it around and flip it to fit their narrative in order to keep you in that constant state of confusion to where you're still emotionally attached to this person. And what happens is when you're emotionally attached to somebody, it messes with your energy. Your energy can be really messed with by dealing with somebody who knows how to manipulate you. That's why you have to keep them out of your head. You cannot let them know what you're thinking all the time. That's not always a good thing. You have to understand that people are going to find angles and ways of keeping you around, because women always want options. You know, women always want another guy to come back to. They'll talk about how they're single and they're not dating nobody, but you're talking to 5 or 6 different dudes at the same time. Women can compartmentalize. And they love to speak to a bunch of different men and tell them a bunch of different things, because it's an ego boost. Because a lot of the women nowadays have low self-esteem. Why do you think you're hearing so much about colorism? Why do you think you're hearing so much about, you know, how, you know, we're choosing this woman over this woman? You know, women are shaming us for not choosing to date them because they feel the competition and they don't like it. But us as men, we have to deal with it. We have to deal with being in competition for the attention of women. But they can't deal with it. So what they will do is they will play and manipulate all these different men, make them all these different promises. But you have to understand that she's going to use that emotional attachment she's made with you. You know, she's probably told you secrets. You know what's crazy is that women will shit test men all the time. That is exactly why you cannot be afraid to shit test them. That is one of the best ways of really figuring out what type of angle that she's coming from. Ask her to do something. Ask her to basically, like, you already know the answer to a question. You ask her that question, and if she's not truthful, you already know what you're dealing with. Because you have a lot of females out there nowadays, man, they have a disdain towards decent men. And so what they will do is they will play all these nice guys against each other. Or they will go from one guy to the next, making them promises and dreams and tell them how much they care about them and love them and support them. But something's not adding up. And what you have to do is you have to read these women. Even shit test them here and there. And once you take the time, because see me, I'm very patient, you know. I'm able to deal with a female, and I filter through all of the, you know, fakery, and I'm able to figure her out to the point to where she's telling me things and I already know it's BS. But at some point, it's gonna come a time when you're gonna have to cut bait, and when you cut bait, you're gonna feel 1,000 times better. Your energy is going to be better. You're not going to feel guilty, because if you still had that emotional attachment, you would feel guilty by cutting her off. But once you figured out that she's full of it, once you figured out that she's nothing but a user, she's a fake, a fraud, then it's a lot easier to let her go and not look back. And that's what you have to do as a man. Because I know we all build emotional attachment to women, because women will lie to us and tell us how they're so much more different than all these other women. But they will never tell us why their relationships broke apart. They will always say it didn't work or he cheated, but they will never be honest with you. They'll never tell you how many men they're actually talking to at once. They'll tell you that you're the only one, this and that, when you're not. You know why? Because you barely talk to each other. And because you barely talk to each other, you're able to figure out relatively easily that she's lying to you. Actions speak a lot louder than words. So what you have to understand is, just because a person tells you something, if their actions don't match their words, they're a liar. And you're going to feel a lot better when you're able to cut bait, when you're able to walk away from that particular situation. Because if you allow them to, women will use you and manipulate you for as long as possible, especially if they're already in a relationship. And you probably don't even know it. Sometimes you already do. They'll put you in a friend zone, and they'll use you for conversation and advice. But that is why you take that opportunity to read her and find out her angles and find out who she really is. And that's when you're ready to cut bait. Because once you figure her out, once you've gotten a full picture, you cut bait and you never look back. And I guarantee you're going to feel a lot better in the end of the day.